Tussle. A vigorous struggle or scuffle, typically in order to obtain or achieve something. Struggle. Fight. Scuffle. Conflict. The tussle for promotion. Tom found himself in a tussle for promotion at work. The struggle was intense, with everyone fighting to prove their worth. The scuffle of ideas and conflict of ambitions made it a challenging endeavor. This real-life example shows the intensity of tussles in competitive environments. Have you ever been in a tussle for something important? How did you handle it? Share your story. Intrinsic. Belonging naturally, essential. Inherent. Innate. Natural. Fundamental. Intrinsic motivation. Sarah's intrinsic motivation drove her to excel in her studies. Her inherent desire to learn and innate curiosity made education a natural pursuit. This fundamental passion ensured her continuous growth. This real-life example shows the power of intrinsic motivation. Do you have intrinsic motivations that drive your actions? What are they? Share your story. Once in a blue moon. Very rarely. Rarely. Seldom. Hardly ever. Occasionally. A once-in-a-blue-moon event. Emily experienced a once-in-a-blue-moon event when she won the lottery. Such rare occurrences and seldom victories are hardly ever expected. This occasional stroke of luck changed her life. This real-life example shows the impact of rare events. Have you ever had a once-in-a-blue-moon experience? What was it? Share your story. Acute. Present or experienced to a severe or intense degree. Intense. Severe. Sharp. Critical. Acute pain. Mark suffered from acute pain after his accident. The intense discomfort and severe agony required immediate attention. His sharp and critical condition was challenging to endure. This real-life example shows the urgency of addressing acute situations. Have you ever experienced acute pain or a severe condition? How did you cope with it? Share your story. Gist. The substance or essence of a speech or text. Essence. Core. Main point. Crux. Getting the gist. During the lecture, Jane focused on getting the gist of the professor's points. Understanding the essence of the discussion, she grasped the core ideas. By identifying the main point and crux, she excelled in her studies. This real-life example shows the importance of understanding the gist in learning. Do you often focus on getting the gist of information? How does it help you? Share your story. Transient. Lasting only for a short time, impermanent. Temporary. Brief. Short-lived. Momentary. A transient visitor. The transient visitor stayed in the village for only a week. His temporary presence brought brief excitement. This short-lived encounter and momentary connection left a lasting impression. This real-life example shows the impact of transient experiences. Have you ever had a transient experience that left a lasting impact? What was it? Share your story. Terse. Sparing in the use of words, abrupt. Concise. Brief. Curt. Succinct. A terse reply. Tom's terse reply surprised everyone. His concise and brief response was curt and to the point. The succinct answer left no room for further discussion. This real-life example shows the power of terse communication. Have you ever given or received a terse reply? How did it affect the conversation? Share your story. Cogent. Of an argument or case, clear, logical, and convincing. Persuasive. Compelling. Convincing. Forceful. A cogent argument. Sarah presented a cogent argument during the debate. Her persuasive points and compelling evidence were convincing. The forceful delivery made her case undeniable. This real-life example shows the effectiveness of cogent arguments. Have you ever had to present a cogent argument? What was it for? Share your story. Sleep on it. To postpone a decision until the following day. Delay decision. Think overnight. Postpone. Mull over. Sleeping on it. Faced with a major decision, Emily decided to sleep on it. By delaying the decision and thinking overnight, she gained clarity. This postponing allowed her to mull over the options and choose wisely. This real-life example shows the benefits of sleeping on decisions. Have you ever decided to sleep on an important decision? What was the result? Share your story. Pinnacle. The most successful point, the culmination. Peak. Summit. Apex. Zenith. Reaching the pinnacle. Mark reached the pinnacle of his career when he became CEO. This peak achievement was the summit of his professional journey. Standing at the apex of his field, he felt he had reached his zenith. This real-life example shows the satisfaction of reaching pinnacles. Have you ever achieved the pinnacle of something in your life? What was it? Share your story. Array. An impressive display or range of a particular type of thing. Collection. Assortment. Range. Variety. An array of talents. The talent show featured an impressive array of performers. The collection of acts showcased a diverse assortment of skills. The range and variety of talents left the audience in awe. This real-life example shows the beauty of arrays in events. Have you ever been part of an array of talents or witnessed one? What was it like? Share your story. Obscure. Not discovered or known about, uncertain. Unclear. Vague. Hidden. Mysterious. The obscure painting. In an old attic, Sarah found an obscure painting. Its unclear origins and vague signature intrigued her. This hidden masterpiece held a mysterious allure. She decided to research its history, uncovering an artist lost in time. This real-life example shows the excitement of discovering obscure treasures. Have you ever come across something obscure that intrigued you? What was it? Share your story. Ardent. Enthusiastic or passionate. Passionate. Eager. Fervent. Zealous. The ardent supporter. Mark was an ardent supporter of his local football team. His passionate cheers and eager presence at every game were unwavering. This fervent dedication made him a zealous fan, inspiring others with his enthusiasm. This real-life example shows the power of ardent support. Are you an ardent supporter of anything? How does it show in your actions? Share your story. Culminate. Reach a climax or point of highest development. Peak. Climax. Conclude. Terminate. The culmination of efforts. After months of hard work, the project culminated in a successful launch. The team's efforts peaked at this moment, reaching the climax of their journey. The project concluded with accolades, terminating in celebration. This real-life example shows the joy of reaching a culmination. Have you ever experienced the culmination of a significant effort? What was the result? Share your story. To break the ice. To do or say something to relieve tension or get conversation going in a social setting. Initiate conversation. Ease tension. Get comfortable. Start talking. Breaking the ice. At the networking event, Tom felt nervous until Jane told a funny story to break the ice. Her ability to initiate conversation and ease the tension made everyone get comfortable and start talking. This real-life example shows the importance of breaking the ice in social situations. Have you ever used a tactic to break the ice in a social setting? What did you do? Share your story. Constrict. Make narrower, especially by encircling pressure. Tighten. Narrow. Contract. Squeeze. Constricted path. Hiking through the forest, Emily found herself on a constricted path. The narrowing trail tightened around her, forcing her to contract her movements. She had to squeeze through the dense foliage to continue. This real-life example shows the challenges of navigating constricted spaces. Have you ever navigated a constricted path or space? How did you manage it? Share your story. Prodigy. A person, especially a young one, endowed with exceptional qualities or abilities. Genius. Wunderkind. Talent. Whiz. The musical prodigy. Young Sarah was a musical prodigy, astonishing everyone with her piano skills. This genius child was a wunderkind, showcasing her talent at every recital. Her abilities as a whiz kid brought her national recognition. This real-life example shows the brilliance of prodigies. Have you ever known or been a prodigy? What talent was involved? Share your story. Bereft. Deprived of or lacking something, especially a non-material asset. Devoid. Lacking. Without. Deprived. Bereft of hope. After the storm destroyed their home, the family felt bereft of hope. Devoid of security and lacking comfort, they faced an uncertain future without their cherished belongings. This deprived state brought the community together to offer support. This real-life example shows how people cope when bereft of essentials. Have you ever felt bereft of something important? How did you overcome it? Share your story. Falter. Start to lose strength or momentum. Waver. Hesitate. Stumble. Weaken. Faltering steps. On the final lap of the marathon, Tom's energy began to falter. He wavered in his pace and hesitated with each step. His legs stumbled and weakened, but the cheering crowd kept him going. This real-life example shows the determination needed when faltering. Have you ever faltered in pursuit of a goal? How did you find the strength to continue? Share your story. Exaltation. A feeling or state of extreme happiness. Elation. Joy. Ecstasy. Jubilation. Exaltation of success. Emily felt a sense of exaltation when she received her promotion. The elation and joy of this achievement filled her with ecstasy. Her jubilation was shared with friends and family, making the moment unforgettable. This real-life example shows the beauty of experiencing exaltation. Have you ever felt exaltation after achieving something important? What was it? Share your story. Bear. Endure an ordeal or difficulty. Endure. Tolerate. Withstand. Suffer. Bearing the hardship. The family had to bear the hardship of rebuilding their home after the flood. They endured the difficult conditions and tolerated the challenges ahead. By withstanding and suffering through the ordeal, they emerged stronger. This real-life example shows the resilience in bearing hardships. Have you ever had to bear a significant hardship? How did you manage it? Share your story. Vitriolic. Filled with bitter criticism or malice. Bitter. Spiteful. Malicious. Acerbic. Vitriolic criticism. The politician's speech was met with vitriolic criticism from his opponents. The bitter remarks and spiteful comments were maliciously aimed at discrediting him. This acerbic response highlighted the intense rivalry. This real-life example shows the impact of vitriolic feedback. Have you ever encountered or given vitriolic criticism? What was the context? Share your story. Besmirch. Damage the reputation of someone or something, in the opinion of others. Tarnish. Sully. Stain. Defile. Besmirching a reputation. Jane's rival tried to besmirch her reputation by spreading false rumors. This tarnishing attempt aimed to sully her image. Despite the stain on her character, she remained strong, knowing that truth would defile the lies. This real-life example shows the impact of besmirching someone's reputation. Have you ever seen someone's reputation besmirched? How did it affect them? Share your story. Voluminous. Occupying or containing much space, large in volume, in particular. Ample. Extensive. Massive. Abundant. The voluminous library. The town's library was voluminous, filled with rows of books. Its ample collection provided extensive resources for readers. The massive space and abundant knowledge were awe-inspiring. This real-life example shows the benefits of having voluminous resources. Have you ever been to a voluminous place filled with resources? What was it like? Share your story. Retrospect. A survey or review of a past course of events or period of time. Reflection. Recollection. Hindsight. Review. In retrospect. In retrospect, Mark realized that his early struggles shaped his success. The reflection on his past and recollection of hardships provided valuable hindsight. This review helped him appreciate his journey. This real-life example shows the importance of looking back in retrospect. Have you ever looked back in retrospect and realized something important? What was it? Share your story. To bring down the house. To cause the audience to clap enthusiastically or laugh loudly. Win over the crowd. Receive applause. Get a standing ovation. Delight the audience. Bringing down the house. Tom's performance in the school play was so captivating that he brought down the house. His acting skills won over the crowd and received thunderous applause. The standing ovation was a testament to how he delighted the audience. This real-life example shows the power of a great performance. Have you ever seen or been part of a performance that brought down the house? What made it special? Share your story. Egotist. A person who is excessively conceited or self-absorbed, a self-seeker. Narcissist. Self-centered. Conceited. Self-absorbed. The egotist's downfall. The company's CEO was known as an egotist. His narcissistic attitude and self-centered decisions eventually led to his downfall. The conceited leader's self-absorbed actions alienated his team. This real-life example shows the consequences of being an egotist. Have you ever had to deal with an egotist? How did it affect the situation? Share your story. Humility. A modest or low view of one's own importance, humbleness. Modesty. Humbleness. Meekness. Unpretentiousness. A lesson in humility. Despite his achievements, Mark always showed humility. His modesty and humbleness made him well respected. This meekness and unpretentiousness taught others the value of being humble. This real-life example shows the impact of humility on relationships. Have you ever learned a lesson in humility? What was the experience? Share your story. Pungent. Having a sharply strong taste or smell. Acrid. Sharp. Strong. Bitter. The pungent aroma. The pungent aroma of spices filled the kitchen as Sarah prepared dinner. The acrid scent and sharp flavors made everyone's mouth water. Despite the strong and bitter smell, the dish turned out delicious. This real-life example shows how pungent aromas can enhance culinary experiences. Have you ever encountered a pungent aroma that stood out to you? What was it? Share your story. Inveterate. Having a particular habit, activity, or interest that is long established and unlikely to change. Habitual. Chronic. Long-standing. Established. An inveterate reader. Emily was an inveterate reader, always found with a book in hand. Her habitual reading habits and chronic love for literature were well known. This long-standing interest made her an established bookworm. This real-life example shows the joy of being an inveterate reader. Do you have an inveterate habit or interest? What is it and how does it shape your life? Share your story. Adamant. Refusing to be persuaded or to change one's mind. Unyielding. Stubborn. Inflexible. Resolute. Adamant determination. Jane's adamant determination to succeed kept her going despite obstacles. Her unyielding spirit and stubborn resolve were inspiring. This inflexibility in her goals and resolute focus led to her achievements. This real-life example shows the power of being adamant in pursuing dreams. Have you ever been adamant about achieving something? What kept you determined? Share your story. Pull one's weight. To do one's fair share of work. Contribute equally. Do one's part. Carry one's load. Share responsibility. Pulling her weight. On the team project, Sarah made sure to pull her weight. By contributing equally and doing her part, she ensured the success of the project. Carrying her load and sharing responsibility made her a valued team member. This real-life example shows the importance of pulling one's weight in a team setting. Have you ever been part of a team where everyone pulled their weight? How did it affect the outcome? Share your story. Bedlam. A scene of uproar and confusion. Chaos. Mayhem. Pandemonium. Turmoil. Bedlam at the festival. The unexpected storm caused bedlam at the outdoor festival. The chaos and mayhem that followed left everyone in pandemonium. The turmoil was quickly managed by the organizers, ensuring everyone's safety. This real-life example shows how to handle bedlam in emergencies. Have you ever experienced bedlam in a situation? How was it resolved? Share your story. Cacophony. A harsh, discordant mixture of sounds. Din. Racket. Noise. Clamor. The city's cacophony. The city's cacophony could be heard from miles away. The din of traffic, the racket of construction, and the noise of busy streets created a constant clamor. This real-life example shows how cacophony is part of urban life. Have you ever been in a place filled with cacophony? How did it make you feel? Share your story. Exploit. Make full use of and derive benefit from a resource. Utilize. Take advantage. Harness. Capitalize. Exploiting opportunities. Mark learned to exploit opportunities in the market. By utilizing his skills and taking advantage of timing, he harnessed the potential of new trends. Capitalizing on these chances led to great success. This real-life example shows the benefits of exploiting opportunities. Have you ever exploited an opportunity to your advantage? What was the result? Share your story. Propinquity. The state of being close to someone or something, proximity. Proximity. Closeness. Nearness. Vicinity. The propinquity effect. Mark and Sarah's propinquity at work led to a close friendship. Their proximity and shared interests fostered a sense of closeness. The nearness of their desks in the same vicinity encouraged daily interactions. This real-life example shows how propinquity can enhance relationships. Have you ever experienced the propinquity effect with someone? How did it impact your relationship? Share your story. White elephant. A possession that is useless or troublesome, especially one that is expensive to maintain or difficult to dispose of. Burden. Encumbrance. Useless possession. Liability. The white elephant gift. The old mansion inherited by Tom was a white elephant. This burden required constant repairs, making it an encumbrance. The useless possession quickly became a liability, draining his finances. This real-life example shows how white elephants can be more trouble than they're worth. Have you ever had a white elephant in your life? What was it and how did you handle it? Share your story. Disgruntled. Angry or dissatisfied. Dissatisfied. Unhappy. Annoyed. Irritated. A disgruntled employee. Jane became a disgruntled employee after her hard work went unrecognized. Feeling dissatisfied and unhappy, she voiced her concerns. Her annoyed and irritated demeanor highlighted the need for better management. This real-life example shows the importance of addressing employee grievances. Have you ever felt disgruntled at work or known someone who did? What was the cause and resolution? Share your story. Infallible. Incapable of making mistakes or being wrong. Unerring. Faultless. Perfect. Unfailing. The infallible plan. The team's infallible plan seemed unerring and faultless. They believed it was perfect and unfailing in every aspect. However, unexpected challenges tested their confidence. This real-life example shows the reality of even the most infallible plans facing obstacles. Have you ever created a plan that seemed infallible? What was the outcome? Share your story. Panacea. A solution or remedy for all difficulties or diseases. Cure-all. Universal remedy. Elixir. Solution. The panacea myth. The herbal drink was rumored to be a panacea for all ailments. This supposed cure-all was believed to be a universal remedy and magical elixir. However, it turned out to be just another solution among many. This real-life example shows the dangers of believing in a panacea. Have you ever encountered something believed to be a panacea? What was it and how effective was it? Share your story. Eradicate. Destroy completely, put an end to. Eliminate. Wipe out. Exterminate. Abolish. Eradicating pests. Mark's garden was overrun by pests, so he decided to eradicate them. His efforts to eliminate the bugs and wipe out their nests were meticulous. By exterminating and abolishing the infestation, he restored his garden's health. This real-life example shows the importance of eradicating harmful elements. Have you ever had to eradicate a problem or issue? How did you go about it? Share your story. Impede. Delay or prevent someone or something by obstructing them, hinder. Hinder. Obstruct. hamper, block, impeding progress. The constant interruptions impeded Jane's progress on her project. These hindrances and obstructions made it difficult to stay focused. Despite the efforts to block her work, she found ways to overcome the hampering issues. This real-life example shows how to tackle impediments effectively. Have you ever faced something that impeded your progress? How did you overcome it? Share your story. Lock, stock, and barrel. Including everything, completely. Entirely. Totally. Fully. Altogether. Moving lock, stock, and barrel. The family decided to move lock, stock, and barrel to a new city. They packed up entirely, taking everything with them. The total relocation was a huge change, but they were fully prepared for the new start. This real-life example shows the challenges and excitement of moving lock, stock, and barrel. Have you ever had to move or change something lock, stock, and barrel? How did it go? Share your story. Sedate. Calm, dignified, and unhurried. Calm. Tranquil. Serene. Peaceful. A sedate afternoon. After a hectic week, Emily enjoyed a sedate afternoon in the park. The calm surroundings and tranquil atmosphere provided a much-needed break. This serene and peaceful time allowed her to recharge. This real-life example shows the benefits of embracing sedate moments. Do you have a favorite way to enjoy a sedate afternoon? What do you do? Share your story. Equanimity. Mental calmness, composure, and evenness of temper, especially in a difficult situation. Composure. Calmness. Serenity. Tranquility. Maintaining equanimity. Despite the chaos of the emergency, Sarah maintained her equanimity. Her composure and calmness helped others stay serene. This tranquility in the face of adversity was a true display of equanimity. This real-life example shows the power of maintaining equanimity in stressful situations. Have you ever had to maintain equanimity in a difficult situation? How did it help? Share your story. Compatible. Able to exist or work together without conflict. Harmonious. Agreeable. Congenial. Well-matched. A compatible team. The project's success was due to the compatible team. Their harmonious work dynamics and agreeable interactions made every task smoother. This congenial atmosphere and well-matched skills ensured their collaboration. This real-life example shows the importance of compatibility in teams. Have you ever been part of a compatible team? How did it impact your work? Share your story. Serenity. The state of being calm, peaceful, and untroubled. Peace. Tranquility. Calmness. Stillness. Finding serenity. Jane found serenity during her morning meditation. The peace and tranquility she felt set a positive tone for her day. This calmness and stillness helped her handle challenges with a clear mind. This real-life example shows the benefits of finding serenity in daily life. Do you have a way to find serenity amidst chaos? What do you do? Share your story. Revere. Feel deep respect or admiration for something. Admire. Respect. Honor. Venerate. Revering the mentor. Mark revered his mentor, who guided him through his career. He admired her wisdom and respected her decisions. This honor and veneration for her teachings shaped his professional life. This real-life example shows the impact of revering mentors. Have you ever revered someone who influenced your life? Who was it and how did they help? Share your story. A feather in one's cap. An achievement to be proud of. Achievement. Accomplishment. Honor. Milestone. A feather in her cap. Winning the national debate was a feather in Sarah's cap. This achievement and accomplishment brought her honor. It was a significant milestone in her academic journey. This real-life example shows the pride in earning a feather in one's cap. Have you ever had a feather in your cap? What was it and how did you achieve it? Share your story. Irrational. Not logical or reasonable. Unreasonable. Illogical. Absurd. Senseless. Irrational fear. Tom had an irrational fear of heights. This unreasonable and illogical dread made him avoid tall buildings. Despite being absurd and senseless, it was a real challenge for him. This real-life example shows the struggle of dealing with irrational fears. Have you ever had an irrational fear? How did you cope with it? Share your story. Avarice. Extreme greed for wealth or material gain. Greed. Covetousness. Rapacity. Cupidity. Avarice leads to ruin. The businessman's avarice led to his downfall. His extreme greed and covetousness made him take unethical decisions. This rapacity and cupidity resulted in losing his wealth and reputation. This real-life example shows the destructive power of avarice. Have you ever seen avarice affect someone's life? What was the outcome? Share your story. Insatiable. Impossible to satisfy. Unquenchable. Voracious. Greedy. Unsatisfiable. Insatiable appetite. Emily had an insatiable appetite for learning. Her unquenchable thirst for knowledge and voracious reading habits made her a top student. Despite her achievements, her greedy desire for more knowledge was unsatisfiable. This real-life example shows the positive side of having an insatiable drive. Do you have an insatiable appetite for something? What is it and how does it drive you? Share your story. Nadir. The lowest point in the fortunes of a person or organization. Lowest point. Bottom. Rock bottom. Depths. Reaching the nadir. Mark hit the nadir of his career when his business failed. This lowest point and rock bottom moment were challenging to overcome. However, from the depths of despair, he found the strength to rebuild. This real-life example shows resilience in rising from the nadir. Have you ever experienced a nadir in your life? How did you rise from it? Share your story. Moribund. Of a person at the point of death. dying, expiring, fading, terminal. The moribund patient. The doctor provided comfort to the moribund patient. Though dying and expiring, the patient's family cherished their last moments together. This fading and terminal stage brought them closer. This real-life example shows the emotional impact of caring for moribund loved ones. Have you ever cared for someone in a moribund state? How did you cope with it? Share your story. Out on a limb. In a position that is risky or precarious. Risky. Precarious. Vulnerable. Hazardous. Out on a limb. When Jane decided to start her own business, she knew she was out on a limb. This risky move left her feeling precarious and vulnerable, but she believed in her vision. Despite the hazardous journey, her determination paid off when her company became successful. This real-life example shows the courage needed to go out on a limb. Have you ever gone out on a limb for something you believed in? What was it? Share your story. Lithe. Especially of a person's body, thin, supple, and graceful. Agile. Flexible. Limber. Nimble. The lithe dancer. Emily's lithe movements captivated the audience during her ballet performance. Her agile and flexible body flowed seamlessly with the music. This limber and nimble grace made her a standout performer. This real-life example shows the beauty of being lithe. Have you ever seen or admired someone who is lithe? How did it impact you? Share your story. Obese. Grossly fat or overweight. Overweight. Fat. Heavy-set. Corpulent. Battling obesity. Tom struggled with being obese for years. His overweight condition affected his health and self-esteem. Despite the challenges, he adopted a healthier lifestyle, shedding the fat and becoming more confident. This real-life example shows the journey of overcoming obesity. Have you ever known someone who battled obesity? How did they overcome it? Share your story. Adherent. Someone who supports a particular party, person, or set of ideas. Follower. Supporter. Advocate. Devotee. The loyal adherent. Sarah was a loyal adherent of her mentor's teachings. As a dedicated follower and supporter, she practiced and advocated the principles she learned. Her role as a devotee made her a respected member of the community. This real-life example shows the importance of being a committed adherent. Are you an adherent of any particular ideology or person? How does it shape your life? Share your story. Bliss. Perfect happiness, great joy. Happiness. Joy. Ecstasy. Delight. Blissful moments. Mark found bliss in spending time with his family. Their happiness and joy brought him immense ecstasy. These delightful moments created cherished memories. This real-life example shows the power of experiencing bliss. Have you ever experienced moments of bliss? What were they? Share your story. Pathetic. Arousing pity, especially through vulnerability or sadness. Pitiful. sad, pitiable, miserable. The pathetic scene. The stray dog's condition was pathetic. Its pitiful state and sad eyes tugged at Jane's heart. Despite being pitiable and miserable, the dog found a loving home with her. This real-life example shows the impact of encountering something pathetic. Have you ever helped someone or something in a pathetic state? What happened? Share your story. On the spur of the moment. Without planning, suddenly. Impulsively. Instantly. Spontaneously. Immediately. Spur of the moment adventure. On the spur of the moment, Tom decided to take a road trip with his friends. This impulsive decision led to an unforgettable adventure. Instantly packing their bags, they set off spontaneously and enjoyed every moment. This real-life example shows the thrill of spontaneous actions. Have you ever done something on the spur of the moment? What was it and how did it turn out? Share your story. Exhort. Strongly encourage or urge someone to do something. Urge. Encourage. Advise. Persuade. Exhorting for change. Emily exhorted her colleagues to adopt eco-friendly practices. She urged them to consider the environment and strongly encouraged green initiatives. Her advice and persuasion led to positive changes in the office. This real-life example shows the impact of exhorting others for a cause. Have you ever exhorted someone to make a positive change? What was the result? Share your story. Apathy. Lack of interest, enthusiasm, or concern. Indifference. Unconcern. Lethargy. Disinterest. Battling apathy. Mark noticed a growing apathy in his team. Their lack of interest and indifference towards the project was evident. This unconcern and lethargy needed to be addressed to reignite their passion and overcome disinterest. This real-life example shows the challenge of battling apathy. Have you ever faced apathy in a group or yourself? How did you address it? Share your story. Fracas. A noisy disturbance or quarrel. Brawl. Fight. Altercation. Commotion. The unexpected fracas. The peaceful protest turned into a fracas when tensions escalated. The brawl and fight that ensued caused chaos. This altercation and commotion were quickly managed by the authorities to restore order. This real-life example shows the unpredictability of fracas in public events. Have you ever witnessed or been part of a fracas? How was it resolved? Share your story. Inebriated. Drunk, intoxicated. Drunk. Intoxicated. Tipsy. Under the influence. An inebriated mistake. After the party, Tom realized he had made several inebriated mistakes. Being drunk and intoxicated, he texted his ex. This tipsy behavior taught him the consequences of being under the influence. This real-life example shows the impact of inebriation on decisions. Have you ever experienced or known someone who made mistakes while inebriated? What were the lessons learned? Share your story. Adversary. One's opponent in a contest, conflict, or dispute. Opponent, rival, foe, enemy. Facing the adversary. Jane faced her adversary in the final match of the tournament. Her opponent was skilled, making the contest intense. This rivalry and competition pushed both players to their limits. This real-life example shows the determination needed to face an adversary. Have you ever faced an adversary in a challenge? How did you perform? Share your story. A fly in the ointment. A minor irritation that spoils the success or enjoyment of something. Disruption. Nuisance. Irritant. Blemish. A fly in the ointment. The charity event was a huge success, except for one small issue, a fly in the ointment. A disruption occurred when the sound system failed, creating a brief nuisance. This irritant, though minor, was a blemish on an otherwise perfect day. This real-life example shows how small issues can affect bigger events. Have you ever had a fly in the ointment in an otherwise perfect event? What happened? Share your story. Indolent. Wanting to avoid activity or exertion, lazy. Lazy. Idle. Sluggish. Lethargic. The indolent day. After a busy week, Tom decided to have an indolent day. He spent the day being lazy, enjoying idle hours with no tasks. This sluggish and lethargic relaxation helped him recharge. This real-life example shows the benefits of occasionally embracing indolence. Have you ever had an indolent day to relax? What did you do? Share your story. Gusto. Enjoyment or vigor in doing something, zest. Enthusiasm. Zest. Vigor. Eagerness. Cooking with gusto. Sarah cooked with great gusto, infusing her dishes with enthusiasm and zest. Her vigor in the kitchen was evident, as she eagerly tried new recipes. This real-life example shows how doing something with gusto can enhance the experience. Do you have an activity you do with gusto? How does it make you feel? Share your story. Garrulous. Excessively talkative, especially on trivial matters. Talkative. Loquacious. Chatty. Verbose. The garrulous neighbor. Jane's garrulous neighbor loved to chat about every detail of her day. This talkative habit and loquacious nature made her the most chatty person on the block. Despite being verbose, her stories were endearing. This real-life example shows the charm and challenge of garrulous individuals. Do you know someone who is garrulous? How do you handle their verbosity? Share your story. Banal. So lacking in originality as to be obvious and boring. Trite. Commonplace. Cliched. Unoriginal. Avoiding banal conversations. Mark found banal conversations exhausting. The trite remarks and commonplace topics left him feeling unengaged. Avoiding cliched and unoriginal discussions, he sought more meaningful interactions. This real-life example shows the desire to move beyond the banal. Have you ever found yourself in a banal conversation? How did you steer it towards more interesting topics? Share your story. Platitude. A remark or statement, especially one with a moral content, that has been used too often to be interesting or thoughtful. Cliché. Truism. Commonplace. Banality. Platitudes at meetings. During the meeting, the manager's platitudes made everyone lose interest. His cliché statements and truisms felt overused and unoriginal. This commonplace banality failed to inspire the team. This real-life example shows how platitudes can dampen enthusiasm. Have you ever been in a situation where platitudes were overused? How did you react? Share your story. French leave. An informal, often rude departure. Sneaking out. Leaving unannounced. Absconding. Skipping out. Taking a French leave. Emily decided to take a French leave from the party. Sneaking out without saying goodbye, she left unannounced. This absconding move, though considered rude, was her way of avoiding long farewells. This real-life example shows the implications of taking a French leave. Have you ever taken a French leave from an event? What made you decide to leave unannounced? Share your story. Peak. The highest point, the top. Summit. Apex. Pinnacle. Climax. Reaching the peak. Mark's career reached its peak when he won the industry award. This summit of his success was the apex of his efforts. Standing at the pinnacle, he felt he had reached the climax of his professional journey. This real-life example shows the fulfillment of reaching one's peak. Have you ever reached the peak of an endeavor? What did it feel like? Share your story. Dilettante. A person who cultivates an area of interest, such as the arts, without real commitment or knowledge. Amateur. Dabbler. Novice. Non-professional. The dilettante artist. Sarah loved painting but was a dilettante artist. As an amateur, her work was more about enjoyment than skill. This dabbler's enthusiasm and novice techniques were still admired by friends. This real-life example shows the joy of being a dilettante in hobbies. Do you have a dilettante approach to any interests or hobbies? How does it enrich your life? Share your story. Atypical. Not representative of a type, group, or class. Unusual. Uncommon. Irregular. Abnormal. An atypical day. Sarah's day was completely atypical. She usually followed a strict routine, but today was unusual. The uncommon events and irregular schedule made it an abnormal day that she would never forget. This real-life example shows how breaking away from the usual can create memorable experiences. Have you ever had an atypical day that stood out to you? What happened? Share your story. Nondescript. Lacking distinctive or interesting features or characteristics. Unremarkable. Ordinary. Plain. Bland. The nondescript office. Mark's office was nondescript, with plain walls and unremarkable furniture. This ordinary setup made it a bland environment. He decided to add personal touches to make it more inviting. This real-life example shows the impact of transforming nondescript spaces. Have you ever transformed a nondescript space into something more interesting? How did you do it? Share your story. Wane. Decrease in vigor, power, or extent, become weaker. Diminish. Decline. Fade. Lessen. The waning moon. The moon's light began to wane as the night progressed. Its diminished glow and declining brightness signaled the coming of dawn. The fading light and lessened intensity created a serene atmosphere. This real-life example shows the beauty of observing natural cycles. Have you ever watched something wane over time? What was the experience like? Share your story. In the arms of Morpheus. Asleep. Sleeping. Dreaming. Slumbering. Napping. In the arms of Morpheus. After a long day, Emily found herself in the arms of Morpheus. Her peaceful sleep and vivid dreams transported her to a world of slumbering tranquility. This napping state provided much-needed rest. This real-life example shows the importance of good sleep. Do you have a favorite way to drift into the arms of Morpheus? What helps you sleep peacefully? Share your story. Extinct. Of a species, family, or other larger group, having no living members. Gone. Lost. Non-existent. Vanished. The extinct species. The dodo bird is a famous example of an extinct species. This once common bird is now gone, with no living members left. Its lost habitat and non-existent population make it a vanished part of history. This real-life example shows the impact of extinction. Have you ever learned about an extinct species that fascinated you? What was it? Share your story. Idyllic. Especially of a time or place, like an idyll, extremely happy, peaceful, or picturesque. Peaceful. Tranquil. Picturesque. Serene. An idyllic vacation. Jane's vacation to the countryside was idyllic. The peaceful landscape and tranquil atmosphere made it a picturesque getaway. The serene surroundings provided a perfect escape from the city's hustle and bustle. This real-life example shows the rejuvenating power of idyllic settings. Have you ever visited an idyllic place that left a lasting impression? Where was it? Share your story. Galvanize. Shock or excite someone, typically into taking action. Stimulate. Electrify. Inspire. Rouse. Galvanized into action. Mark's speech galvanized the community into action. His words stimulated and electrified the crowd, inspiring them to volunteer for the cause. This roused spirit led to significant improvements in the neighborhood. This real-life example shows the power of galvanizing others. Have you ever been galvanized into action by someone or something? What was the catalyst? Share your story.